4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
What is going on, Minnesota Vikings fan? It has been a while. Welcome to another episode of House Calls, brought to you by Minnesota Sports Talk. I am your host, Skoldoc. Joining me, as always, is my partner, Dave. It's good to see you again, man. It's been a while.
Yeah, seems like we took 3 weeks off, and then we took 1 week off, and well, you had surgery, so this last time, so
Yeah, I had a nasty infection. I saved the guy's legs, so I mean, go me.
that
But
works.
doing God's work, man. He needed it. Saw that gentleman in the morning before clinic, had a really bad infection. I drained bedside and then took him back after clinic to finish, removing all the infection, and saw him. He got out of the hospital, saw him today in the clinics, looking much better. He's on his way towards keeping his foot. So scary stuff, man. If you're a diabetic out there and you're listening to the show, take care of your sugars because that stuff gets out of control and it gets bad. But we aren't here to talk about that stuff. We're here to talk about football. And my God, it's been a while since we got to talk about football. So I am excited to talk to my partner here. And tonight, I thought that we could put a fantasy spin on it because fantasy drafts are coming up around the corner. At the end, later this month, we have training camp and then we have our fantasy drafts. Dave, I know that you partake in fantasy because we were talking last year about, our squads. Are you in a dynasty league? Are you in a redraft league?
A redraft, but it's an auction league.
Fun. I've always wanted to do an auction league. Those drafts got to take a long time, though, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, they go fairly quickly. The bidding happens fairly quickly. And then towards the end, everybody's just got a dollar bill. So you nominate a player, you get him. So
Nice.
so it goes by pretty fast.
Are you the only Vikings fan in that league?
Yes.
So you get a lot of the Vikings players, I'm guessing?
Well, I mean, last year, no one wanted TJ Hawkinson. I got him cheap. I knew his situation, so I got him, and I thought Aaron Jones was a good pickup, so I got him pretty cheap. So yeah, I went for value players. Like I didn't get Justin Jefferson or anything like that. So yeah. Oh, and then I picked up Jalen Naylor like late as a dollar player just because I thought if someone gets hurt that he would be the next guy up and stuff like that. So
did you win?
No, but I won money because I won some of my money back as a $200 league, and I won $70 back because like you win money if you're like the highest scorer that week. So a few weeks I was the highest scorer, but I was pretty lazy sometimes. I had 3 leagues going. Now I'm only going to have 2, a family league in this one. So I'll pay more attention to it. It's like I threw money away when I did pretty good. But injuries, shit like that, it really hit me in that league.
So I'm in a family league as well, and I win that almost all the time because the family's just not good.
Yeah, I lost my brother in the final last year. I was the highest scoring team. I was averaging, it was pretty high scoring league. So I was scoring $180, $200 a week. And in the finals, I scored 80 or
Nice.
90. It was like the
of
fucking
course.
worst.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was against my brother, right? So yeah.
I'm in a redraft league with a friend of mine and his family, and I started out hot in that league several years ago, but like for 3 years in a row, I've just had terrible luck. Like I had the first overall pick this last year. Of course, I took CMC, and that just blew up in my face. So that's tough.
Too, but I took it because I knew a guy really wanted him, so I traded him, and I got Justin Jefferson and the running back for the Buffalo Bills,
James Cook,
and another player, and he regretted it.
Yeah,
I ended up going to the finals in that league, and I lost by 0.6.
Oh wow! And by 6 yards.
Yeah, there was a blocked field goal for a touchdown. I think it was, I forget who it was. I forget what team it was, and that was 6 points. So
that's tough, man. That's a tough break.
Good.
I will say, friends of mine, we started a dynasty league last year. So we had our dynasty draft last summer, and that has been the most fun that I've had playing fantasy sports, doing a dynasty league. That was a ton of fun. I did win, so of course I had a lot of fun winning. have a lot of good players. Jaden Daniels was my quarterback. Josh Allen is my other quarterback. It's a 2-quarterback system with the super flex. So they kind of led me to victory.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I actually kind of like that because the quarterback pool's pretty deep,
Yeah.
So it's like everybody's got a good quarterback. When you're, 10 years ago that wasn't the case. Now it's like everybody's got a good quarterback.
Bob wants us to set up a league for the listeners. I'd be
We
all
did
down
that.
for that if we want to do a Skull World League. I'd be down.
I don't want to be commissioner. I used to be commissioner, man.
Yeah. I'll look into that, Bob. I'll send out some feelers. And I'll be commish if we get something going. I'll set it up.
Cool.
Well, let's jump into it, man. So what I have here is Mike Clay's projections pulled up. If you guys don't follow Mike Clay, he's at Mike Clay on Twitter, and this guy does projections for all 32 NFL teams, and he goes deep. He will go all the way to the fullback position, every single defensive player on the roster. He's projecting kickoff returns. It's really good stuff. And I mean, you look at some of these numbers at the end of the year and you're like, wow, that's a really good prediction that guy made. So I like using his stuff for analysis. And I guess, we should start with the quarterback, JJ McCarthy, and his fantasy outlook. And to me, I think that JJ McCarthy is the sleeper quarterback this year that you want to go get. I don't think he's necessarily going to be like Joe Burrow-esque top 5 quarterback, but I think that you're going to get him really late in the draft, like somewhere around quarterback 16 in the draft, and he's going to finish closer to like quarterback 8 on the year. I think that that's kind of where he's going to go. So you're getting a top 10 quarterback at a really good price. And so Mike Clay's projection has him at 603 attempts, completing 390 passes for about 4,200 yards. So he has JJ McCarthy in his first year starting, throwing 4,200 yards. And so Mike Clay is going off the idea that this is a Kevin O'Connell offense that does not run the football. Okay. Now we think that's going to change. So as we play this game and we look at these projections and we talk about these projections, Dave and I are going to say higher or lower. Like, where do you think that this number is going to go? Now I look at that number, Dave, and I think that's probably too high. I would place the yardage 3,600 to 3,900, somewhere in there. I don't think he cracks 4,000 yards in his first year. I think the Vikings going to try to run the football more.
Yeah, 4,200. Don't see it. Don't see it at all. I was going to say 3,800 was probably my ceiling on him. Mm-hmm. And due to the fact that we know that our commitment to the run is pretty obvious this year, we got a bruising running back to back up Aaron Jones. The offensive line was beefed up. Everything points to, and the vocalization of us saying we're committed to the run, and that's how you win. And the trenches and stuff like that just leads me to believe that we're gonna have leads. I think defense is gonna hold people. I don't think we're gonna do having to do a lot of come from behind. And we're not gonna start out of the gate, throwing the ball all over the field. I just don't feel like that. Now I feel like we're gonna throw it. We're gonna take our shots. I definitely think that. But yeah, no. Now for me, he's gonna go He could go undrafted in my league. I think absolutely nobody looks to him in my league, and I could easily get him for $1. And I look to get him as my backup mainly because I also think he'll run. And I feel like that would be important. And yeah, I think he'll have games where he stands out, might get 2 passing and a rushing touchdown, and that's a good week and a nice good backup, quarterback. And I get him cheap for $1.
Yeah. So for touchdown interception ratio, he has him throwing 29 touchdowns on the year and throwing 16 interceptions. And I think those numbers are extremely fair.
I do. I'm more of a 25 to 28 and 13 interceptions. I don't feel like he's going to go 16, but he could.
Sure.
He could. He could have a couple really bad games. I mean, Peyton Manning, I think the other day said he had 10 interceptions to start the first 3 games of his career.
Yeah.
So it was
It was
pretty
kind of a
bad.
different era back then with Manning
Oh,
too,
that
but
too, and defense and
yeah.
defenses could hold on to you a little
But
bit
I can
more.
see 10 to 15 picks, and I think 25 to 30 touchdowns is probably what I would say too. So I like that projection for him. I'd go under on the yards. I think the touchdown interception ratio is fine. He has him taking 44 sacks. That seems like maybe a little high for JJ McCarthy. I do feel like he can escape pressure. And I think our offensive line's decent, so it may be a little high, but we'll see. Rushing, though, this is important for fantasy football. Rushing at the quarterback position is a cheat code in fantasy football. He has JJ McCarthy rushing for 54 attempts for 230 yards and only 2 touchdowns. I think he's too low
I
on
think he's low
JJ's
on
rushing
that.
ability. JJ, in my opinion, was the second most athletic quarterback behind Jaden Daniels coming out in the draft. I think that he does have legitimate rushing ability, legitimate escape ability, and his weapon is using his legs to escape and still keeping his eyes downfield and throwing. So he may not run as much as what we would see from a younger quarterback. He may still look to pass in those situations. But I just think that 230 yards is too low, and I think that 2 rushing touchdowns is too low.
I think he's going to be over 400 rushing.
Yeah.
I think he could have 4, 5
Yeah.
rushing touchdowns this year. I just think I think when I evaluated him coming out of the draft, I was saying that was his cheat code, that his scrambling ability is probably elite in
Yeah.
the athletic, and he runs a 4.6, and he's got the ability, and I thought that was the sixth sense when I compare. This is the only comparison I made of him to Mahomes, was that he had that innate ability to avoid pressure, and he could scramble, and he's actually faster than Mahomes.
Yeah. So these numbers for Mike Clay added up to 282 PPR fantasy points at the end of the year, which ranked 14th in his quarterback rankings. I think that he'll rank closer to 8 to 10th in overall quarterback finish. And with what we were saying with that rushing ability, that's going to bump him up to that 8 to 10 range.
And
Now,
you
you
peel
were
back
saying,
the interceptions a little bit, I think. And
yeah, I mean, interceptions -2 points usually in most formats, so it's not going to like kill you at the quarterback position. But the rushing yardage is definitely going to help him. But you were saying that you like to grab him as your backup as a good strategy this year. I agree with you. The guy who I'm actually grabbing, because you can get him later in the draft, is Justin Fields. And I don't like Justin Fields as a real quarterback. I like him as a fantasy quarterback because his rushing ability gives you a safe floor, and you can get him so late that I think he's going to finish quarterback 6, 7, 8 just based on rushing ability.
well, I mean, I still have memories of him playing us. He wasn't doing so well those
No,
last couple.
he's not a real good live
Yeah.
quarterback. He's not.
I get it.
But he's
I get the
fantasy
rush
quarterback.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's why that what's his name from Denver years past, Tebow. That's why Tebow was a good fantasy option.
Yeah.
The fourth quarter when he started running the ball and stuff like that, and he would have like 5 points going in the fourth quarter. He'd end with like 25 after the fourth quarter was over. It's ridiculous. So yeah, he could be that type of player for you.
There's a tweet. Let me find this real quick here. There's a guy that I follow on Twitter, and I have his tweets saved. So every time he sends something, it pops up on my feed. I guess I'm not going to find it now just
One of the
because I
things
was
I
looking for it.
evaluate too is depending on if you're 4 points for a passing TD or 6 points, because that means rushing quarterbacks are even that more valuable.
That's a great point. Yep. His name is Chris O'Brien, and you can follow him at 17 Game Pace is his Twitter handle. And one thing that he tweeted that I saved was that Justin Fields was number 4, I believe. Let me see if I can find this real quick. I'm still scrolling. Here it is. Quarterbacks with more fantasy points per dropback than Justin Fields in 2024. Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels. End of list. Okay, that's what I'm saying. The guy's a good fantasy quarterback because he runs so much, and that's fantasy gold at the quarterback position. The question is, can he play a full season? I think so. I think he's proven to be a durable guy. They played Russell Wilson over him, which I thought was a mistake for the Steelers last year. But I'm in on Justin
It looked
Fields
good
this
right
year.
away, but yeah, by the end of the season.
So let's move on to let's go to the wide receiver position and go to Justin Jefferson next. Justin Jefferson, Mike Clay has him getting 175 targets this year, catching 116 balls, amounting to 1,400 yards, essentially. 1,451 is the total there. 10 touchdowns. This is good for 322 PPR points and places him second overall for wide receivers, second to Jamar Chase. So let's break this down. 116 balls caught this year for Justin Jefferson. I think that's an okay number. Anywhere from 100 to 115, I think, is a good number.
Yeah, I think the yards per catch might be a little bigger than where he's probably got him at. Like he's got him at like 11 or 12 yards per catch.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that 1,451. If he catches
over
116, he's going to get more yards. It's going to be closer to 16,700.
Yeah, I was like
yards.
1,580, something like that. That's the way I'm feeling about it. I think people do under. If he's going to throw for 4,200 yards, a lot of it's going to go to Justin Jefferson. That's
yeah. I mean, you're right. We're going to get to Addison, but he's got Addison at 944 yards. So Justin at 1,451, Addison at 944, TJ Hawkinson at 797. So you can see where a lot of this is adding up. Aaron Jones with 391. All of this is adding up to, 42-28 for JJ McCarthy.
Does he consider, what's the situation with Addison and, having a, suspension?
That's a great question. He statted Addison out for 17 games, which he does 17 game projections for all players. That's his method, his style, because that kind of helps, balance out when injuries happen. It just makes his projections a little closer. So he did not account for Jordan Addison's suspension for this.
Because that could be a low number for him if he played 17 games. I mean, it's one of those years where if he stays healthy the whole year, he could be, he could easily get 1,000, 1,200 yards.
You're talking about Addison?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Just sticking with Justin for a second. I think the 116 balls caught, if he stays healthy all year, is very good. I think he would actually get more than 1,500 yards if he catches that many balls, and 10 touchdowns. I think that's like fair. Like superstars, they get 10-ish touchdowns.
I'm really interested in how they're going to be in the end zone. Was it the fact that there wasn't enough weapons around for Justin Jefferson to get open? Was it the triple teams in the end zone? How is he going to, is he going to score more touchdowns now? Is he going to be looked at, more because he's got a rookie? I mean, I need to get it to Justin Jefferson. What's the situation there? Or are we going to run the ball more down there? Play action, huge deal. Is he going to spread it around to the, it has a lot to do with, O'Connell's play calling down there. So that's the only thing keeping people back or people question about Justin Jefferson is that he doesn't score a lot of touchdowns. That's the one drawback. Everybody's going to say Jamar Chase is better. Look how many touchdowns he scores. That's his Achilles heel when it comes to not getting respect.
I 100% agree with you, and I think that's mostly a scheme thing. I think that teams definitely put two on him as much as they can in the end zone, and it's on KOC to figure out how to free him up from that. And I think that the Cincinnati coach
coverage touchdown.
You go at him. Yes.
Yeah. He toasts them.
And that's what happens in Cincy too. When Jamar chases single coverage, you know where the ball's going. But I think the Cincinnati coach does a good job of getting Jamar into motion, getting him singled up as much as possible. And I just think that Jamar Chase has more red zone targets than Justin Jefferson. And that equates to more touchdowns. So can we get that scheme going? But to your point, are they going to run the ball more? And we'll talk about Mike Clay's projections here. He does not think that they're going to run the ball more in the red zone. I'm just going to say that right now based on his numbers. I do think that. So we'll talk about that in a second. So anyways, Justin Jefferson projected to be good. No surprise. We know that. Jordan Addison, again, he's got 17 projected games here. He's got only 2 rushing attempts for 12 yards. I'll take the over on that. He likes to use JA on those end arounds, and he's scored on a couple of those in the past. So give me more than 2 rushes. He has 0 rushes for Justin Jefferson. He's going to get some rushes too on some type of end around. He's got Jordan Addison getting 122 targets for 76 receptions and 944 yards with 7 touchdowns. And that's good for 33rd amongst wide receivers. So I'll give the floor to you. Do you think the 76 receptions is too low for Jordan Addison?
I don't think so. I don't think that is. And if anybody's our deep threat guy, it's Jordan Addison. So maybe if he gets those, and that's the thing. That's why I was saying he could have 1,100, 1,200 yards, is because he is mainly he is probably our deep threat of the 3 receivers, or 3 main guys. So, I think it's fair what he's saying here. I get it, and especially with a rookie quarterback, we kind of feel, and again, 4,200 yards. But yeah, Jordan Addison, he's definitely capable, doing like Diggs did and breaking out, having 1,000-yard season like he did in 2018. When both of our receivers got over 1,000 yards for the first time since Carter and Moss. It's like, I think this might be the year again that he could do that. He can break out, and he could even do it on a shortened season with, especially if Justin Jefferson goes down a game or two. So he's definitely the go-to guy if Justin's down.
So JA this last year had 99 targets, 63 catches for 875 yards and 9 touchdowns. So
how many receptions?
63.
So yeah,
so it depends on the suspension. I think he can put up similar numbers to that despite the suspension.
Well, he went through a stretch where he wasn't getting the ball. Remember, we're like,
yeah.
free JA.
Let me read off some of those games actually. Going in chronological order. So the first 3 weeks of the season, 3 catches, 2 catches. Then it spiked up to 5, 2 catches, 3 catches, and then 8, 4, 8, 7, 5, 6, 1. So he definitely had some games there where we were seeing a lot of games with only 3 catches or less, right?
Yeah.
It's free this guy up.
Yeah, we started doing the Twitter, trying to get him to get more games, and of course Kevin McCollum listened to us.
At Chicago, he had 8 catches on 9 targets for 162 yards and a touchdown. Great game there. Versus Atlanta, he had 8 catches on 12 targets for 133 yards and 3 touchdowns. So he had some really good games throughout the season, but he had a lot of games that was like 3 catches for 36, 3 catches for 66, 2 for 22, 5 for 42. Like, we need him to be a little bit more consistent as the number 2. And he has the talent. I just think some of that was a Sam Darnold problem.
Yeah, Sam Darnold wasn't looking for intermediate passes, so
correct.
And the reception rate on deep balls isn't going to be as good. So
right,
Jordan Addison's a great route runner, and I don't know if you saw that. You probably did. You're on Twitter all the time. Saw that catch that he had.
Yeah, in practice, that just working out. It was sick. Ridiculous. Absolutely. Let's go to wide receiver 3. He's got Jalen Naylor. Let's see here. Receiving. Got Jalen Naylor with 23 targets. How is that? 14 catches on 23 targets for 162 yards and a touchdown.
That's insanely low.
Yeah, that's real low. Let's see where Ty Felton right underneath Naylor. He's got him getting 11 catches on 17 targets. So just under for 118 yards and a touchdown. So he's almost got Naylor and Felton the same there. And I feel like what he's doing is he's hedging his bet because he doesn't know who's going to be wide receiver 3. So he's just throwing both of these guys like some wide receiver 3 type numbers. Like, I think he's like, okay, this is what I see the wide receiver 3 position generating, and I'm just going to split that number between 2 guys. Basically, I think whoever wins wide receiver 3 has double the production, if not triple the production of what he has projected here. And I think it's Naylor.
Yeah, this is the year for Naylor to stand out. I've always been a fan of his because the first year when he did play, it seemed like he caught everything. And then last year he had a couple bad games and everybody was on his ass. And then he throws a really good game in there. I like him. I just think I think the bad games he had with those drops are an anomaly. I think he's going to be a reliable number 3. And I think honestly he has enough talent to be a 2 somewhere.
Yeah, I agree.
Here.
He's going to get paid. He's going to get paid somewhere for sure.
Yeah, we're going to have to make a choice. And I know Bob Swede says it right here that we need to keep Addy around. Yeah, it'd be great. Yeah. But we've already maxed out our payroll probably for the next 2 years. We're going to have to make a decision on Addison.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Let him walk on his own.
I wouldn't be surprised if Hawkinson ends up being the guy that gets out and they extend Addison.
Yeah,
but you don't have to pay Addison yet. That's not coming up yet.
And we like the tight end we drafted here, and you can do easily tight end by committee. And we actually paid a tight end this year. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we overpaid or not, but we didn't show the commitment to the run.
The cap is indeed a myth, as Bob says. You can massage the cap. When you have a rookie quarterback contract, there are a lot of things you can do to get that stuff done. But let's move on. So finally in the wide receiver position, he did have Rondale Moore making the team, getting 6 catches on 9 targets for 56 yards this season. We'll see. I don't know if Rondale Moore makes this team or not. We'll see. If he does, I don't really see him being much of a factor. I think that Naylor's for sure the wide receiver 3, steps in for Addison during the suspension. Felton is probably your wide receiver 3 during that suspension. But realistically, they're probably trying to do a lot of 2 tight end sets with Naylor and Justin Jefferson on the field during that Addison suspension.
Yeah, and let's see here. I'm looking at the depth chart. I mean, Rondale Moore has a really good. I think he's got a good chance of making the team. You got Jefferson, Addison, Naylor, and then Ty Felton, Rondale Moore, and then you're talking about names like Tim Jones, Jashawn Jones, Lucky Jackson, Thayer Thomas.
I think Tim Jones makes the team as a special teamer, not as a quote unquote receiver. So he takes up a receiver spot.
Yeah, and that's if we keep 6 receivers and
right. Yeah. So we'll see. Bob asked, can Moore return kicks? He was a punt returner for the Cardinals. I don't believe he actually returned kickoffs, but we will see. The Vikings do like the cornerback that we signed, Isaiah Rodgers, as a kick returner, and Matt Daniels is trying to sign off on getting him as the kick returner. We'll see how that goes. But they're going to have Ty Chandler back there returning kicks again. And then there's that kid, Silas Bolden, I think his name is, undrafted free agent. He's going to get a shot at it too. So we'll see about kick returner and what they end up doing.
Yeah.
And actually, Mike Clay does have the kick returner projection somewhere in this document, so we can look at that and see. I think he has Ty Chandler doing it. Returns. He's got Ty Chandler, Isaiah Rodgers, and Jordan Mason as your kick returners. He's got Ty Chandler returning 31 kick returns for 856 yards and getting 0.2 touchdowns. I don't know how that works, honestly. I have no idea how he can say 0.2 touchdowns. Isaiah Rodgers, 16 returns for 420 yards. Jordan Mason, 5 returns for 143. I think that's just throwing spit at a wall and seeing what sticks, honestly.
Yeah. I usually throw spaghetti, but you throw spit, I throw spaghetti.
Yeah. In Chicago, we throw spit at the wall. Jalen Naylor, he's got as your primary punt returner. Only 30 attempts for 284 yards.
No.
Will Reichard, he has the kicker making 28 of 33 field goals for 85%, 37 on 39 extra points. And he's got Wright as your punt returner or as your punter, averaging 46.9. He really goes deep in these projections, man.
Yeah.
Will Reichard, I am on the train for Will Reichard as a monster comeback season. That guy was lights out. Multiple beat reporters, I'm citing Matthew Collar here. He says it was the best kicker he's ever seen. Point blank. Best kicker he's ever seen. He did not miss in training camp. He was automatic. And then the leg injury happened, and he wasn't the same guy. So can he stay healthy? I think it was a freak thing that he dealt with. He had a full off season, so I think that he's going to be a very good kicker for a very long time. Anything you want to add on the special teams breakdown?
Yeah, ESPN has Jalen Naylor as our punt returner too. I mean, he's going to have the opportunity, but Jesus, when he
We'll see.
blew it against
to be fair, I don't know
Pack.
how much he actually practiced it when that's on the Vikings, right? Like they have to have a punt returner number 2 who's confident to go out there and not give the other team the football. But I agree with you. He's got a long way to go based on what we saw last year. But I'll say this. Our primary punt returner was not good last year. What's his name? Brandon Powell. He was not good last year.
He's a catch it and not get anywhere.
Yeah, but sometimes he muffed that too, man. He had issues catching the ball sometimes. He kind of double caught it. Like he didn't cough it up. I don't remember if he actually coughed it up.
He had a few hit the ground.
He was close. He was close to giving it away though, multiple times. Let's jump into tight end here. TJ Hawkinson to me is a guy that I'm targeting this year because JJ McCarthy, based on all the things I've seen from beat reporters, he sees the middle of the field extremely well. If he has a weakness right now, it's throwing outside the numbers and throwing the deep ball, but he sees the middle really well. Great on in routes down the field, really good on in between the numbers stuff. So I think TJ Hawkinson and him are going to get a rapport really quickly. I think TJ Hawkinson is going to catch a lot of balls. So Mike Clay has Hawk getting 117 targets and catching 81 balls. So I think Hawkinson is going to get damn close to 100 catches this year.
Yeah, if healthy, I wouldn't doubt it.
So he has him just under 800 yards, 797 yards. I'm going to put it on the table and say that Hawk gets really close to 1,000 yards. 10 yards a catch, 100 balls, 1,000 yards. I think he's going to have a great season. That's going to be good for me for tight end 1, 2, or 3 this year.
Well, if we're starting to talk like that, then maybe we should go say that he's right on with the passing stats because now we're talking about 30 between him and Justin Jefferson, 2,500 yards, and then we're talking about Addison 900. You know, that's 30.
Yeah, but
that's 3,400. That leaves about 400 yards for the rest.
So
unless he sits a game or two.
I do think though that with Addison's suspension, his yardage goes down. Okay. And I think that wide receiver 3 is meh in terms of like true yardage that's going to add up. And I think that Aaron Jones is going to give you some yards in the passing game. We can talk about that. But I think
Justin Jefferson will eat into it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that most of McCarthy's yardage is going to come from Jefferson 1A and Hawkinson
throwing the ball. Just when Justin Jefferson's throwing the ball, he'll eat into some of that yardage.
Yeah. But I think and they only have Hawkinson down for 4 touchdowns. That seems really low. He's going to be a red zone target.
I mean, he didn't score a lot last year, right? So that he's probably going off.
He missed a lot of games last year. So and he came back. He wasn't 100%. But anyway, he's got Hawkinson for the tight end 5 this year. I'm just expecting a big year.
I mean, it's fair. You know?
Okay.
You know,
I think
I'm with you. I'm with you. He's fully capable of getting 1,000 yards again. So 800 is fair for a tight end, especially when you're still contemplating rookie quarterback and the amount of weapons around him, and Aaron Jones getting 400, yards. So,
well, speaking of Aaron Jones, let's move to our running backs here, and starting with the rushing stats, he's got Aaron Jones rushing for 191 attempts for 850 yards and 5 touchdowns. Okay. And then I think it's going to be important to kind of just talk about Jordan Mason's and kind of compare them. So comparing the 191 attempts of Aaron Jones, he's got Jordan Mason for 160. I really like that split. I think that sounds really close, like a nice 60-40, almost 50-50 split there.
Well, how much yards is he going to get?
For Jordan Mason, he's got him at 744 versus Jones 850. So running at about the same average. Now, here's the kicker, though. He has Aaron Jones rushing for 5 touchdowns. He only has Jordan Mason rushing for 3. I think Jordan Mason is going to have more rushing touchdowns at the end of the year than Aaron Jones, because I think Jordan Mason is going to be our red zone guy.
Well, earlier you said that you didn't like put a lot into us running the ball, but now you're talking about what, almost 1,600 yards from the running back, 250 from the quarterback. So that's
232.
That's 1,900 yards.
1,900. Yep. 1903.
So it's not too bad. That's an improvement, right?
Where that doesn't seem like a ton.
Well, when you get, what was it, 850 and 750, or what was it?
Let me ask.
When you got your running back position getting close to 1,600 yards, it's pretty nice.
How many total rushing yards did the Eagles have in 2024?
It's the Eagles, but yeah. Well, how about the Lions?
The Eagles had 3,048. Let me ask about the Lions. 2,488. And they're projected at 1,903. Let's see what the Vikings did last year. The Vikings had, 1,855. So not much. He's not projecting a huge increase. Just like 60 more yards rushing. Yeah, I think that's off. I think that the Vikings run game is going to take a big leap.
I think Aaron Jones get 1,000 yards again, even, because with the rest, and he'll pop off, and he could, if he stays healthy, Well, I don't think he'll. That's the thing. He's going to sit out a couple games, so that's pretty fair. 850 is pretty fair.
I think that's
fair.
He's
projecting over 17 games, but 850 is pretty fair, because I think he's easily can miss a couple of games.
I just think where I disagree with the projections is more with Jordan Mason. I think that, I guess after looking at these numbers, I see that Jordan Mason's number rushing yard wise is higher, but his touchdowns are much higher. I think Jordan Mason's going to score more than 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's going to score like
I think he'd be the go-to
times.
guy at the end zone.
The
only way Aaron's getting in is if he catches a ball or breaks a run.
Here's the difference between the two backs. He's got Aaron Jones catching 52 balls on 67 targets for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. I can see that. I can see 50 catches from Aaron Jones. That's a lot of balls, but there's a rookie. There's a first-year starting quarterback who's going to be looking to check down, throw a lot of screens. I think Aaron's going to catch the ball.
And I think the checkdowns are going to help out T.J. Hawkinson too. Matt Darnold, he just wasn't using that enough, and he actually, with Aaron Jones, actually did well though. He did get a lot of balls, so it could even go up, so I was thinking if he's below 400, that's a little low. I think he's always going to be in there on third down.
50 catches does seem like a lot, though, for a running back. Probably going to take the under on that one.
I'm talking about yards, though.
Yeah.
50 is good. I think the yards are maybe a little low. He was under 400.
CJ Ham, 2 carries for 8 yards, no touchdowns. 5 catches for 28 yards, no touchdowns. Damn, can't get our boy in the end zone.
Yeah.
Just for shits and gigs, we have defensive stats here, too. Let's see, how many sacks do we have for our boy Dallas Turner. He's got Dallas Turner playing 535 snaps. He's getting 36 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 0.2 interception.
I think he's could get 8
Yeah,
sacks.
he's getting more. He's getting more sacks. I think the snap count's fine. I just think he's getting more interceptions than
Yeah, it's
that.
a lot of snaps. I mean, it's not 1,000, right? But it's pretty good. He's going to be in the times he's going to get in there is going to be, to pressure the quarterback. So
He's got Jonathan Allen getting 3.5 sacks. He's got Javon Hargrave getting 5.3 sacks.
yeah, anything above that's gravy, I think.
Jonathan Grenard 8.7, Andrew Van Ginkel 7.3.
I think he's kind of peanut butter spreading that over the 3 outside rushers, right?
Yeah.
I think someone gets more than 10. I mean, my money would be on Grenard.
And he's got the Vikings at 8.7 projected wins, despite having a very good roster. He goes on here to rank like the position units, and it says the strength of schedule ranking is 30th. That's why, despite having a great roster, he kind of knocked them down a couple wins because of the projected strength of schedule.
Meaning 30th is we have the
Second, basically the second, yeah,
third toughest schedule.
yeah. He also goes on to show your win probability every week. Week 1 at Chicago is a 48% win probability. Atlanta at home 68%. Cincinnati at home 54%. Pittsburgh at Dublin 51%. Cleveland 73%. Philadelphia at home 44%. Chargers on the road 51%. Detroit on the road 29%. Easily the least winnable game on the schedule. Baltimore at home 34%. Chicago at home 56%. Green Bay on the road 46%. Seattle on the road 54%. Washington at home 56%. Dallas on the road 53%. The Giants on the road 60%. Detroit at home Christmas Day 37%. Does not like our chances against Detroit at all.
That's I mean, I get that we're not favored, but in the 20s, right?
29% and then 37% at home.
With the two, with the losing our offensive and defensive coach, and I just don't,
he's basically I don't think he's accounting for that at all. I think he just looks at roster projections and he's using like his stats projections to really drive these numbers. And I think that he looks at Detroit's roster and says it's a damn good roster. I think that's what drives us.
If you tell me that JJ McCarthy is going to have 29 touchdowns and 4,200 yards, I'm like, we're fucking Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah, dude.
Like, are you kidding me?
You're right.
Like, book my tickets now. It's like, okay.
And I asked him that. I actually tweeted at him on Twitter. I said, I'm confused because these projection totals that you're showing me, if you're telling me this is what happens, I think the Vikings win like 11 or 12 games. So where's the disconnect here? And he said, just flat strength of schedule. That's what he responded. So I think it's just his way of playing the middle. I get just being safe, I think is what he's doing. It's all quarterback uncertainty, right? So a lot of this that we just talked about, he's got this his unit grades. And his quarterback unit grade is a 4. JJ McCarthy, he put that as a 4. And it's not that he thinks he's bad. Yes. It's not that he thinks he's bad. It's just that he doesn't know what he is. But it's the same thing with Darnold, right? Darnold was probably at least a 4, if not worse, last year in his projections. I could find it, but I don't have it on me. Running back, he has them at 5. Wide receiver, 9. Tight end, 8. Offensive line, 9.
Wow.
INT, don't know what INT is. Edge, 9. INT, it says 9. I don't know what that is. Interior tackles or something.
Tackle.
Interior. It just means interior. 9. Outside linebacker, 6, which I don't agree with.
That's terrible.
No, wait. OB linebacker.
Okay.
Off ball
linebacker.
linebacker 6.
We just had a Pro Bowler.
Yeah, Cashman and Pace, but I guess he might be looking behind them. But still, I think they have okay depth with the guy they got from Green Bay, the guy who used to play for us, Alex Wilson. Is that his name?
He's arguably
Eric
one of the.
Wilson. Eric Wilson.
You got to give me at least a 7 on that.
Yeah.
8 most likely.
Cornerback 4. Everyone hates our corners.
They're pretty average. Or better. I'd give us a minimum 5, 6. I'll give us a 6.
All right. Offensive rank.
Just won a Super Bowl.
Offensive rank cumulatively he has us at 14. Defensive rank 5th. Overall rank from a roster 6. Okay. So that's his rank for our roster, Vikings, 6 overall roster based on his projections and whatever. So then I asked him, I was like, how do you have the 6th best roster, all these projections, and then they only have 8.7 projected wins? And by my count, he has them favored in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They're favored in 11 games.
So 11, you should have 11 wins.
Right. And he has them at 8.7. I was like, the math isn't mathing here.
If you favored us in 11 games, then you got to go with your favorability.
Yeah.
You can't just like, I'm going to throw in 3 extra losses just because their schedule's tough.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
You mathematically projected us favored in 11 games. You need to give us 11 wins. That just don't make any sense.
That was kind of weird, but
yeah.
That I commend you, Mike Clay, for putting in the work that you do, for coming up with all these projections so that we can talk about them. Thank you for your work. I especially appreciate that your work is free. Anybody can go look it up right now. So thank you, Mike Clay. I just think you're a little low on the win total for the Vikings. But you know what, though? After talking through a lot of these numbers, I think we liked a lot of the numbers. We didn't have any qualms.
We were pretty. Yeah, we felt pretty good about it. Now what were the win totals for like the Bears and the Packers and the Lions?
If you give me a second here, I will go find that for you. While I'm looking this up,
because if he has the Packers better than us, that just don't make sense.
If you look at the Packers' schedule, they do have a more favorable schedule than we do.
Road schedule, though. Jesus.
The Chicago Bears, he has at 8.6. What were we, 8.6 or were we 8.7? We're essentially right there with them. The Bears are favored in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 games he has them favored in. The Lions, he has them projected at 11.4 wins. He has their offensive cumulative score as a 7, their defensive rank as a 1, their roster as a number 2. So that's where a lot of this is coming from. The Lions, he has them unfavored to win in 1.
He didn't watch
one game. One game all year. With that brutal schedule that the Lions have, he has them unfavored to win in only 1 game. And that is week 3 at Baltimore. They have a 43% chance to win.
Favored in 1 game?
He has them as the underdog in 1 game.
Okay, so he's favored in 16 games.
Yes. So I want to go through this. At Green Bay, the Lions are 63% chance to win. 63% favorite. I do not agree with that. Chicago week 2, 72% favorite. Baltimore 43%. Cleveland 90%. Cincinnati 63%. That game's at Cincy, I'm pretty sure. 63% to win at Cincy. I don't know about that. I don't know. Kansas City, I think that's at Kansas City, 58%. Tampa Bay 67%. Minnesota 71%. Washington 65%. Philly, 54%, Giants, 82%, Green Bay, 70%, Dallas, 77%, Rams, 63%, Pittsburgh, 71%, Minnesota, 63%, Chicago, 65%. I don't know, man. He really likes the Lions squad. I'll say that.
Well, he did give him 4 more losses than what he has him favored. So,
And then we wanted
5.
to look up the Packers. I have them right here. 8.7 projected wins right there with the Vikings. The Packers are favored in
So we
one.
went from 3 teams making what? Did we have 3 teams make the playoffs?
We did. Yep.
And now we have 0. We have 1.
Yeah. He's got the Packers favored in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games. 9 games. Whereas in the Vikings were favored in 11.
Yeah.
He's got the Packers squad offensive rank 13, defensive rank 17, overall roster at 15. What was the Bears roster? Let me go look that up.
We're the 6th ranked team, and we're favored in 11 games, but we're only going to win 8.7.
It does not. It doesn't. The math ain't mathin'. For the Bears, he has the offense and defensive ranked both at 12 overall, but the overall rank of the squad is 7. He's very. That doesn't make sense to me either.
Well, certain teams could have like a really good defense, but a really bad offense.
I guess.
Vice versa. So it could average out that way.
Okay. Well, that was a fun exercise. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, we're figuring our projections of what we think players will be. So
obviously, if we can grab Justin Jefferson, we're going to grab Justin Jefferson. You basically have to have like a top 4 or 5 pick for that, and hope that whoever has 4 doesn't take him.
Well, for me with the bidding, the guys I'm going, they're gonna look at the rookie quarterback and undervalue him, and I might, a top receiver might go for $60 to $70 out of
Is that $100 budget? Oh, $200 budget.
$200 budget, and he might go in the 50s.
Yeah.
Because people will undervalue him because of the quarterback. I might put JJ McCarthy out there for $1 just to remind everybody, like right away with my first pick, just to remind everybody who his quarterback is.
Yeah.
Because that's what they did last year with Sam Darnold. They didn't like Sam Darnold, and
you got him for cheap. Before we end the show here, I just want to end on one more topic. So the Dolphins and the Steelers pulled off a trade. The Dolphins sent Ramsey over to the Steelers, and they got back. Oh, so they sent Ramsey and their tight end, Jonnu Smith, over to the Steelers, and they got back Minkah Fitzpatrick and maybe a draft pick as well. But what do you think of that trade? And do you think the Vikings should have tried to get Jalen Ramsey?
And then the Miami get Waller too.
They traded the Giants for his rights. They basically they did a late round swap. I don't know, man. I'm not big on the Waller thing. I think I'm not expecting much from a guy who was retired all last year and went into rapping and making a comeback.
So yeah, my buddy is a Miami fan. He's from Alabama, but his dad grew up in Miami, and he's like championship as a joke, and I'm like, yeah, you're a missing piece. Yeah, a guy didn't want to play football. He's our missing piece.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you get the best player, then you're if Ramsey's the best player, then it's funny that Wallace and him are on the same team.
Yeah. My take on this is from a Vikings perspective is that I kind of see it as a wash. Like, yes, Jalen Ramsey can still play, and you're going to have to play him, and he's going to go up against your best receiver in Justin Jefferson. It's going to make things a little bit more challenging for you. But you're also taking a very good safety off the field. You know what I mean? In Minkah Fitzpatrick. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a wash, I would say.
And it wasn't Fitzpatrick with Wasn't he with
Yeah.
the Dolphins?
He was drafted by the Dolphins originally, so they got him
They had
back.
like 2 Fitzpatricks on their team. I remember that.
So I don't know, kind of a meh type of move for me for both squads. Doesn't really move the needle. I'm not at all upset about the Vikings like missing an opportunity to go get Jalen Ramsey because I think the cost to go get him was too high. I didn't think it was going to cost that much.
Yeah. I mean, if we can make a trade, if before the if we can get a cornerback before the trade, that might be it. I like our chances with our defensive backs because our defensive line is going to be so much improved.
Yeah.
And I think that was part of the reason why we weren't getting respect at corner.
Yeah, and we don't ask these guys to go play man-to-man coverage
and
very
we're
much
higher on
either.
our safeties than probably most people are. So
yeah. All right, man. Well, let's call that a show. It was great to talk with you again and have everybody joining us in the chat. Bob, Skull Mafia, good to have you guys. And we'll be back next week with some talkers. Send us in some questions if you want us to talk about something specific. It's kind of that dead period, right? The end of June and early July before training camp. I got to tell you, Dave, I'm not a big list guy. Everybody's trying to make lists for things to talk about this time of year. I don't really buy into those lists. What do you think about list season?
I did them a lot back in the day when I first started. But I thought about doing something for you where I ask you like who your top 3 most improved players are, or your MVP or or guy that breakout player, stuff like that, and just ask you those questions, and then I'll give you mine.
Yeah,
I thought that'd be a good show for the future.
Sounds good. We'll do it on air production meeting. All right, guys, it's been real good to have you guys back. Have a good week. Have a happy 4th of July. Everybody stay safe. Keep all of your fingers. Don't be out there doing what JPP did and lose half your hand. Fireworks are dangerous, y'all. So, Skull Vikes. I'll see you next week.
Pear Paul, right?
Yep.